Hey guys, it's Forsaken Reality here with the 24th episode of the Remnant tutorial series. In this episode, we're going to be setting up a procedural shooting animation, which will basically allow us to set up the shooting animation using code rather than having to animate the shooting animation. So it'll save us from having to find shooting animations for all of our things, and we'll also be able to adjust it per weapon. So this is how it will look when it's finished. And let's go into slow-mo so you can see it a little better than movement. You can see it there on the right side, the arms moving, and also on the left side you can barely see it's moving. So that's that. That's good. Procedural animations are pretty useful because they're universal mainly, and we'll be able to adjust it per weapon. So without further ado, we will get into this video. So the first thing we're going to want to do is open up our master weapon. So we're going to our items and our master weapon. And in here, I'm going to create 2 new custom events. Server procedural kick. Or I'll just name it shoot kick because I know it's procedural animation and this will help it go with the rest of everything else. We're going to drag out of here, right click, type in timeline, and we're going to add a timeline. And we're going to name this not kick but shoot. I guess shoot kick will work. It's the procedural shoot kick timeline, and we'll want to play this from start. We're going to open up this timeline, make it a float, and our kick is going to happen really fast, so you want to set it to a very low number. The length is 0.5 is what I have. Just going to close out of this and reopen it, and that didn't do anything like I thought it would, but we add our keys, add key, add 3 keys, and I think now it should, yeah, there we go. When you add your keys, it'll fix the graph so you can see it a little better. And this one's going to be at 0. This one's going to be at half the time, 0.025. And the value is going to be 1, or negative 1. And (0.5) for the time. The value is 0. And we reopen this so you can see it in a better position. So that's how our graph looks right there. And I want to go back to our event graph. I'm actually going to go in here and name this track. Let's name that shoot kick. Let's name it kick, just so we know that's that, and we can still create a variable. So we'll drag out this and promote it to a variable. I will name this one shoot kick. So that's the kick of the rifle every time we shoot. Rather than using animation to create the kick. And we're actually going to want to drag it here, create a multiply, and we're going to get the kick, plug it in like that, and for the value we're going to get our weapon data, break that, and we need to add a variable here first. So we want to go back to our blueprints and our data structures and our weapon data, and we're going to add a new variable. And we're just going to name this shoot kick amount float. I'm just going to put that right there. So now when we open up our data table right here, we have a shoot kick, and that'll allow us to adjust this more or less, and that will increase or decrease the amount of kick we get basically. And we're not actually going to plug that into the server, so we're going to create our second custom event. Cast shoot kick. That's going to be multicasted, and it's not. These aren't going to need to be reliable because they will fire off most of the time, but we don't need it to fire off if there's something else that it's like prioritized over it. So this doesn't need to be a reliable one. You won't really notice any misses. Multicast, shoot kick. So now we have this, our procedural shoot kick animation set up here. And it's being fed by our weapons, so we want to, just so we know how much it's doing. Rifle. I'm just going to set the 1. My pistol, I'll set the 1. I'll stop the pistol animations in the next episode as well. So we want to open up our animation blueprint, go to our update graph and our weapon data. We want to drag it up here and get our kick. And then we'll promote this to a variable. Create the name for us already. I'm actually going to remove this space. I don't know why I put spaces in our variables like that. So we have our shoe kick being set. So it sets the procedural kick amount. And now we want to go back to our anim graph, and this is where we're going to use this. So I'm going to drag down and make some room. It's going to get rid of the X there in the spine rotation because we don't really need that. We're going to use the cached pose spine rotation to start this. Local to component. And Drag out, transform, modify bone. And for our first one, it's going to be hand R. And we're going to add to existing parent bone space. For our rotation, it's going to be add to existing bone space. And that will be that. And we will drag out and get 2 bone IK. And from here, this will be our hand R. We'll get our effector, and that will be our bone space. Our hand R. And the joint target is bone space. And the joint is the clavicle R. Okay. And we're going to break, we're going to click this exposes pin, and we're going to turn them off so they're binding. And just for testing it out, I'm going to plug this in like that right there. That'll give us our effector location, and this allows us to move and set our right hand. But we don't really need to do this too much. One moment. Alright, so I found what I was going wrong with there. We're currently, when we select this, we have this, the effector location, and we want that to be set to 0, 0, 0. And we want to click on this over here so we can grab that's the joint target. And we want to move that over to a position over here. The way I had this set up. Made sure it was in basically the same position as it was before. So like somewhere around here. So that's good enough. Plug this in, you'll see that it won't be that much of a difference at all. So around that location. Later on, we'll be using this for other things too, to adjust it. I'm just gonna unplug that for now. Move this and continue on. I got past that little problem. Transform, modify bone. And this is going to be, you'll use the lower arm R. That's the bone to modify. We're going to add to existing parent bone space. And we can also get rid of these scale pins. We don't need those that displaying. Now that's a little more neater like that. We're also going to want to split these. Rotation, we're going to want to add to existing rotation. And we're going to use our bone space. I'm going to Control C, Control V this. It's going to be our upper arm. And I'm going to Control V again. And this one's going to be our clavicular. So there's our right arm. And we'll get our shoot kick. And for this, we're going to put our plug it into our hand. For the one of these, the wrist is that actually has like a 180, almost 180. You see right here that like this would be moving like this, but this one's switched all the way up here. So normally it was straight out. This face would be moving this way, but now it's going to be moving this way. So the arm is going to be crunching against itself and looking odd. So you want to multiply this by -1, which inverts the multiplication, so we'll move it in the opposite direction. Basically is what this will allow you to do. And I'm just going to put this right here. Plug it into our lower arm. And for the rest of these, we can just plug into our shoot kick. And now we want to test this. I'm just going to, I won't do that yet. I'm just going to plug this into here like that. Compile and save. And of course, that's not working because if we go into our master weapon, we have our server shoot kick. We're not actually calling that anywhere. So to do that, trying to go to our shoot gun. Call our server shoot kick. So now we have like, you can get a slight movement there, but it's not exactly what we want yet. We still want to have a few more bones to adjust. So we'll go back into our in here and delete that. We plug that in. We're going to copy this, Control V, spine on1, Control C, Control V, spine on 2, Control V, spine on 3. We have all three of our spines here. And we're just going to plug this in like that. I'm giving it a little bit of space because it's going to be a different, just to show each part of the skeleton that's getting blended. So now you want to drag this up, shoot kick, transform Y, shoot kick, or actually, yeah. Transform Y. Actually, they're all in Y transforms, yep. And our alphas we're going to adjust here, so how much it will actually blend into these and use these. So we don't want our spines overly done. We just want a little bit of it into our spines. Each one's going to be a little bit less as it goes up. So now we have our spine. Now we're going to drag out of here. We'll just control D because we're going to need one more. Make some space. This is going to be our upper arm L. And from here we're going to drag out, save component to local, save, new saved cache pose. It's going to be our shoot kick. That's our left arm. We're going to be putting another node into here soon, which will allow us to control our left hand. I guess I'll put that node in here. So the way we're going to be using this, actually no, I'll say this for another episode because I'm going to be looking at the virtual bones for our left hand to help control it a little better. So now I want to delete our spine rotation here since we're using it here. And plug in our shoot kick pose instead. Because now it's running through there, coming through, creating the spine rotation, and then it's running through here to create our shoot kick. That's our procedural shooting, which we can adjust in our data table how much it kicks. Just for an example, I'm going to turn it up really high. Anyway, we have a shoot kick going. Just double checking to make sure this is actually working. I don't think that's actually working right now. One moment. Actually, yeah, it might actually be working. I just kept clicking on my rifles. I was on my pistol. Make sure you're on the right weapon when you're setting your shoot kick. I'm just gonna set this to 10. So we had that one, and now let's see if it adjusts. Yeah, it's really crazy. You don't want to do it too much. Probably look at some adjustments so we can turn it up. Maybe make it so the shoot kick adjustment only controls the arms, perhaps, and the spine rotation. The spine rotation will have its own shoot kick variable coming from the weapon, or not coming from the weapon, but just coming in here and setting everything when you're shooting. So yeah, coming from the weapon, but we'll create a second variable that will be manipulated. But that'll be for another video, because this is fine for now. The only time you really want some crazy kicks is for like an RPG or something. And to show that it's working on all clients. Watch me be wrong. Yeah. Okay, so that is not playing on all clients because we have two multicast events. So you want to go into your weapon, run on server. So you have your run on server running into your multicast, and your multicast sending everything out. So I got this. That's odd. Just gonna pause this and look into why this is not working. Okay, so not really too sure why exactly the shoot effects and that wasn't working, but I found a way to fix it. First thing we do is go into our switch weapon, and for our owner here we can plug in self, and that should fix our kick replication. In our weapon blueprint, we want to go to our fire effects and set this from not replicated to run on server. The weird thing is that I don't have this set up, and I didn't make any changes between this, so it could actually be some random engine issue. Not 100% sure. And that should be it. Once you set that, and self variable there, that should allow you fire effects and your kick. Both. The left hand doesn't look so good because it is moving, but it doesn't have what's it called, the fabric node that connects it to a specific position, which we'll be working at, which we will set up. And the reason I didn't do it in this video is because I wanted to use virtual bones, and that's going to take a little explanation to show you what that is exactly. So that's going to be everything for this episode. If you found this video helpful and want to see more, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss out on any new tutorial video uploads. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comments, feel free to leave those in the comments section below, or join our community Discord server using the link in the description. Thanks, and I'll see you all in the next episode.